Welcome to Candid Conversations with Kathy. My name is Kathy McSherry, and I'm so excited to dive into today's conversation. Welcome, everybody, to another podcast with Candid Conversations with Kathy. And today I have Sandra Veum. And if you can't remember it, you can say what, Sandra?
Just remember it by saying V and M. Not and, but VM.
Sandra is a professional stylist. And what I don't know if she realizes as much is she's a great organizer along with that. So I want to tell you a little bit about my personal experience, which was awesome, life-changing, and freeing because my closet is organized. But I also want to share or have Sandra share a little bit about her, how she got started, and why, Sandra, what made you choose this business?
All right. Well, let me start off by saying I really enjoy Kathy. She is a lot of fun as a client and fastly becoming a friend. And we just have a lot in common. And I find that in my business, which I've really, really enjoyed, is meeting so many different unique people in different industries or, stay-at-home mom, whatever that is, including men. And so how did I get in this business? Well, I have had my personal wardrobe styling business over 16 years now. And funny enough, I'll give you the cliff note. I went to school for textiles and clothing. At the time when I went to school, there was not anything like a stylist. Designers were dressing stars for the most part. And I did my whole senior thesis from college on working with the corporate woman in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, remember those? The power
what was that
suit.
Book? Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How to dress something.
Dress for success.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so anyway, that was sort of my goal at the time because it was the 80s. And, but funny enough how life has it, I came to a fork in the road and I had an opportunity to fall into the hotel business. I know it's a long story. I won't bore you with that because that would take up the whole half hour. But anyway, I worked in sales and marketing for 16 years in that industry. And I really enjoyed it. I traveled and whatnot, but I found myself taking my meeting planning clients shopping. I didn't do their closets because I usually didn't live here in San Diego, but I would take them shopping. They wanted to go to local boutiques. And fast forward, when I had my daughter, I quit, stayed at home for a few years. And then after that, when she entered preschool, I thought, I'm going to start my business from back in the 80s. And styling still wasn't a thing. You have to think around 2005. It really wasn't. 2006, it was not really a thing still. So I actually based my business on interior designers because that was the only thing that I could think that could really kind of translate. I'm an added expense to something for someone, if that makes sense.
So you would contact interior designers?
No, I basically Googled because what happened, I'm Miss Google. That's
right.
How I find things out. I Google everything. I even Googled, I'll get into my company's name, but I was just trying to, because everything I built is grassroots. I wrote my information, I created all of my collateral, everything. My business cards I designed because I knew I had a vision in my head, and it was really about, I knew I wanted to base it on building confidence, because we all go through different changes in our lives. And at the time it was just women, because obviously I related the most to women, but it has, it quickly evolved to men, boyfriends, husbands, divorced people afterwards, to children.
It really
generational dressing
filters into
everything.
Everybody could use it. That's what I don't understand. It's not really even talked about as much.
Well,
because I found
why?
Through a referral from a friend,
and I'm all referral based, and
right.
It takes a while to get that sort of momentum going. But I find that people confuse personal styling and thinking it's only for the elite. It's so expensive.
It's not.
It's an investment. You
Yes.
have to look at it in the long run. It saves you money because I help you buy the right things, get rid of the things that don't work for you or don't fit you. Remember, I'm a textiles and clothing major, so I'm all about fit and construction. And whether even that is a fuller, baggier look, there's a way to have that right silhouette and not be like
Right.
baggy, you know.
But my friend Christopher that referred me,
Yes.
he said that
A guy, by the way,
a
Christopher,
guy,
yes.
he said, I've been buying all the wrong sizes.
Yes.
And because I was buying things that were a little bit bigger, it made me look heavier. And then the length of his pants. He was
yes.
buying, they were not breaking right.
Yeah.
And so I know the same thing with, you had referred us to a client over at Banana Republic of yours that helps with styling after you've done that for John.
Yes.
So it was amazing because he's tall, 6'1", and he was buying his pants too long.
Yes.
Right? They were breaking wrong. So all of that little stuff you don't even realize.
Well,
and it really was an investment because
Yeah.
it changes the way you look, how you feel about yourself. So I'm just, I
and you
can't
don't
say enough,
overbuy.
as you know.
But I want to interject. So I would have gone shopping with them because I'm also a personal shopper. It's the whole process. It's getting your closet in order. It is knowing what you need, creating that shopping list, and then we usually go shopping. Unfortunately, you were last
Living on a
minute
trip,
living
yeah.
on a trip like in 2 days, and I'm booked. I was booked. So I have, again, having this business a long time, I'm also Fashion Valley's style ambassador. There's only one. I'm the
Really?
ambassador. Yeah.
I
So
didn't know that.
I have connections to all the stores. So I know who to trust when it's not me. And so what I did ahead of time is, which you don't know this, is that I went online and hand chose the things that I would have pulled for you when I was there. And then I have a gentleman there that I've worked with for years and I trust. And we've been working together, oh my gosh, I don't know, 14 years. So
Who was great, by the way.
Yeah, Renee, I said, here, you're going to work with Renee, but I went ahead and told them what to pull ahead of time because I wanted to make sure my vision was,
Right.
you know, because
Right.
sometimes when you go to a store, they haven't seen your closet.
Right.
And they may sell you things you really didn't need. Like you have that sweater. Like
Yeah.
you didn't need that one. So that's, where that came into play. So
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know that normally I would be with you.
Yeah, no, it was
Shopping.
great.
So anyways, in a nutshell, so I started the business and it just quickly grew, but keep in mind 2008 happened and it took a little nosedive with, what happened in our economy. But I always looked at that as a way to just sort of pivot, like with COVID and do different things. And my business has evolved. It's gone from, closets to shopping. I've always done styling. I've always done those three. But now I do styling for trips, whether it's business or leisure, which you took advantage
Right.
of.
Uh-huh.
And what does that mean? People are always amazed when I say that because I will also pack for people if they want. So that means we don't overpack. I look at your itinerary. I check weather. I style the pictures. Usually, in most cases, I'll pack them up. They don't have to worry. They're not overpacked. They didn't bring too many shoes. And all they do is they refer to their pictures to know what goes with what.
And if I was missing something, like she kept taking notes, so she
Yeah.
said, you're missing the basic black dress that you can roll up, go over to the Nordstrom rack. You're missing your basic white t-shirt or black t-shirt to go under everything. And so I had a little shopping list. Of course, I went over my shopping list.
Well, and again, unfortunately, so Kathy and I are getting better at scheduling because I wanted to be with her shopping, but I was booked and she was leaving like the next day. And so
I came home with like 12 bags. I'm like, what about this? What about this?
And I was like, okay, no, this is, we want to stick to, I'm about being not wasteful. I want to be strategic. I want to make sure you're wearing the things that you buy, that it incorporates and merges nicely with what you already own. Because it's, what I found people coming out of COVID is they are more strategic. They're more mindful. They looked at their closet and they're like, I don't even like my stuff anymore. I
know.
Whether or not fitting in it or not, it was more about who am I now? My life has really kind of changed. Now but I'm kind of done with wearing sweatpants, even though I do have these really good sweatpants on today, but they look like pants, but they're just super comfy. They're good Thanksgiving pants. You can grow in them, but anyways. But the point is that who are you now? And then to make sure your wardrobe speaks that for you. And the organization comes into play because as a stylist, you need to have it arranged a certain way to know how to make outfits. Mm-hmm. Because as you said, a lot of times I'm asked to do other parts of the house and yes, but it's not really my genre. And I've learned having my business 16 years to stay in my lane and my true passion. And that is being a stylist.
So I actually, when I got your referral, I heard about such a great experience. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, organization. That's
Right.
what was first, because I went to fashion school, and I worked for new home builders, so interior design, all that was in the forefront. But I got an even better experience, if you know what I mean. And the way that you organized my closet, first of all, she said it should look like a store. And I'm like, oh my God, I've always wanted, like, you look in a magazine, you go on Pinterest, and their shoes are set up and it looks like a store. And I was like, fat chance. So, but when you grouped everything and said, because this is where you're going to start, you're going to pick this out first, your pants, and then you walk over here and you do the top, and you walk over here and you get your whatever the coordinate that goes on top, from a blazer to a sweater to whatever. And it made sense. It was like completing the story. So I was like, wow. And for me, that I can see a lot of things visually. I am very good at color and design, but for basic organization, it's like I don't even know what to do. Like
It's like organizing an outfit, really,
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And you have a natural talent. You know, like you said, you have it in you. You went to fashion school. But sometimes
I couldn't organize it or even see it until now. I can
and get
follow
multiple looks.
Yes.
That
yes.
was, I think, a big takeaway from what I could see for you, too, is to
Yeah.
take that one thing and now wear it multiple ways.
Yes.
And not just singleize it so it's not getting its full use.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I did want to, when people hear this, which I hope, my one listener maybe has their friend over today. So the two people.
There you go. And I'm going to promote it.
I would like you to tell people how it relates to real estate. Because I found that being organized in a home, either before you sell or when you're getting ready to move into it, being set up or organized it's just huge, and for me it was huge. So how would your services be, somebody
Useful.
Useful, exactly.
Well, and what we've talked about, because, I mean, to my knowledge, you are like the number one realtor that everyone should be using.
Too kind.
So on that note, I feel that I put myself in this because I have moved. So anyone that has moved more than one, it takes only one time to learn this, really, but you should never, or maybe you don't know, you should never move with things that no longer speak to you. I mean, why would you bring that extra baggage? There's just no reason. This is when we're forced to clean out that drawer
Right.
that
Which,
we
by the
always
way,
throw things in.
How many bags of clothing did you take out of here?
Well, speaking of, I have your donation slips because
excellent.
I do give back. I give the donation slips, but we had
15 at least.
At least 15. Yeah.
That's stuff that if I was moving, it's like when I had a storage unit, and then 5 years later I go back, I'm like, why did I have all this stuff? It's the same thing. Why move all that extra?
Why would you, right? And so the key is before you move is to, what I like to work with people is first edit where they're at currently. So that, maybe we don't need to organize it, because if it's a quick move, you don't need it organized right then and there. But we edit it, and so what you're moving with makes sense. Now, if I can see the new place and see the closet that you're moving into, that I can also really help with, and then come back and how I would organize it. Because let's face it really depends on how many long items. Let's say you're a gal that wears a lot of maxi dresses. You need more length of where you can hang longer
in the
things.
closet.
And I also, just so you know, work with people that do the companies like a California Closet or whoever. There's a bunch of them.
Oh, and help them design it?
Yeah, because again, the California Closet people don't know your wardrobe. I mean, they're not going to know, because half the time, sometimes people are hanging things that should be folded.
Right.
Or vice versa. They're folding things that should be hung. And so you have to have that kind of mindset, and that is as a stylist and who I am. Because a lot of times when people hear stylists, they think editorial, models, movie stars.
So not.
I'm not that. I mean, that's not my business. My business is getting people feeling great about what they have, feeling good about what they have on, because then it evolves into the other parts of their lives.
Right.
And it transitions into personal or professional.
Hey, sorry to interrupt our conversation. I just want to take a minute in case anybody has any real estate questions or concerns. Please reach out to me at Kathy@KathyMcSherry.com or my website, KathyMcSherry.com. I'd be happy to help. Now, let's get back to our conversation.
My business is more about getting a person, a business in line, feeling good about it, moving forward. But back to the real estate, that when you move into somewhere, we could do one of two things. If I'm able to see pictures of what your new closet looks like, I could organize where you're currently at so that when you move, if you move in boxes, wardrobe boxes, you can literally pick it up and put it in a wardrobe box and just move that box and be like pants, or whatever.
Right.
If you're that organized. Let's be real, most people aren't. So,
but that sounds like it takes a long time, right? So, for how long did it take? I mean, we went through so much because I don't think you could even see what to style if we didn't get it organized.
Well, that's just it. You really can't see. Now, we kind of put the cart before the horse with you because you had that trip.
Right.
And we did work with key pieces to get you ready for that one trip. And I did styling pictures for her. And so she knew what she was taking on this trip, knowing that I was coming back for the closet. So that was the cart before the horse. Now, once we got the things out that no longer work, we organized your jewelry.
Yeah, that was a mess.
That was a big thing, because
from chunky jewelry, fake jewelry from the 80s just didn't work anymore.
I mean, but that's okay. We all have that, but it wasn't even that. There was tangles, there were missing earring. I mean, so we really got a good now take on that. So now you really know.
This was a test for you, by the way. I just needed to see if you could pass it.
Well, and hopefully I passed. I'm back. But because today we're going to be doing styling pictures. But to answer your question, usually just a closet evaluation, not with the move. It usually takes up to 4 hours. I always tell people plan on 4 hours because the idea behind it is to go in, you edit. I create a shopping list as I'm editing because I find the missing link or the missing pieces. And then as I'm going, I go and I organize as we're telling a story while I'm pulling pieces out that you're having trouble wearing, or maybe you have events or occasions you have a hard time getting dressed for. I start pulling that on my clothing rack. That then helps me, once I organize, I've edited and I've created the shopping list. Now I go back and I start with those pieces that create the styling pictures. And then it just kind of evolves, with that.
So what do you charge for something like that?
So a closet evaluation right now is $400. And that also gets you, though, a digital style file book. You get a gift with that. You get a follow-up email of the items, your shopping list and whatnot. So you get extra things for that. But basically, I'm $100 an hour. That's what it comes down to. Sometimes people say, well, I have an organized closet and I just need help wearing what I have. Just look at it as $100 an hour. And you'd be amazed what I can do in 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Not a closet. Now, people are really they're like, so I hear this all the time. Well, I don't really have a lot of clothes. They don't really realize the process that goes into it. And so a closet evaluation is different than just style time or, consultation
and then you had me try on various things.
Oh, and I'm trying on is key.
And you'd be like, what's this? And I'd be like, but I it just doesn't fit right now. And you said, are we talking 10 or 20?
Yeah.
And I'm like, 10, and you gave me a year. You're like, okay, if you can get back into wearing it in a year. Otherwise, I'm out. And that was I needed to hear that. And so some things I would just go and try on, and I could tell by the look on your face, like, no.
I mean,
or what are you going to, why are you keeping that? Things like that.
Yeah.
And it was easier for me to just have one person say, out, and I no longer was emotionally attached, right? Gone.
Yeah, and I'm not, it's funny, there are some people that are very harsh that way. I'm not harsh. It's, to me, there's a psychology involved to it, even for myself, because I have to go through this too. I preach what I live myself. And so, sometimes we have those harder pieces. And whether it's a memory or whether it's, something, an emotional attachment. And I like to think of myself as fair. But let's be real, and this is what I always tell people. If you're, usually 10 pounds is one size. If you're more than 10 pounds, and that's awesome. Everyone should have a goal, whatever it is. But are you really going to go to the back corner of your closet where you literally have to dust it off and wear those pants from 20 years ago?
Right.
No.
Yeah. And no matter how much they cost. That was the big thing.
That's a big thing.
But those were $200.
Yeah.
It's like, but am I ever going to wear it?
And I always say there's a cost per wear factor. So the point is this. Silhouettes have changed, by the way, too. So
Yes.
that pant may not even be what you should be wearing, with a bunch of pleats and cuffs and not what's in style now at Aritzia and whatnot. But back in the day. You know, you're not going to be wearing that. You're going to want to buy something new. You're going to want to reward yourself. And the cost per wear factor comes in. You know, when you're buying something a little bit more expensive, think of how many ways you can wear it and divide that into the cost. And then, is it worthy? If you think of like 2 ways, like let's say it's $100. Okay, well, I can wear it 2 times and it's so, you know, like stand out there that most people will know it if I keep wearing it. Okay, is it worth $50 a wear?
Right.
Probably not. But if you're like, well, I hang with different people, I go to different events, then I can wear, you know, now it's 10 times divided into the cost. Yes, it's worth it.
Right.
So there's a lot of different, those are the psychological factors. It's not like I sit there and analyze people. But
no, but it's helpful. I would
Yes.
rather have somebody be direct and, you know, reality check. And then I know, you know, like I said, I was no longer emotionally attached and able to be like, let somebody else enjoy it.
Yeah. And especially if we can sell it, you know, and you can get maybe a possible profit from it, you know,
True.
for it as well.
Although,
that helps it.
The other feature that I loved is that you were able to take all of my 15 bags and
Yes.
3 1-gallon plastic of old jewelry, blah, 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 to
And donate it.
wherever choice, donation of my choice.
Yep.
And then you bring me the receipts. So for my
Right.
tax deductions.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had things in there that had price tags on them, and I never wore them. And I'm like, but I thought, you know, in the end, I like to donate to Rachel's Downtown for women of domestic abuse, and they're getting back into the workforce. So I was like, in the end, it's going to really make somebody else happier than
Exactly.
it's making me.
And there's some great programs out there. That is one which is awesome. The Discovery Shop, all the proceeds go to cancer research. Like there's so
that would be a
many
great
good.
one, too.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. And even Salvation Army, you know, all of their clothing donations go for all of the they're not events. They're the services that help families that are trying to get back from you know, recovery.
Similar to
and-
Rachel's, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, Sandra, I did want to ask, how did you come up with the name for your business?
Oh gosh, that's a funny story. As I mentioned before, you know, I like to Google a lot of things. And as I did, you know, pricing to base things on, I knew I wanted my business based on a butterfly and the transition into a butterfly. So whether from a chrysalis or cocoon, whatever, I think it's a chrysalis, that we're all in at some point in our life, and then we blossom out to become a beautiful butterfly, not knowing what color, and we fly off. And so I knew that butterfly, but I didn't want to name my business Butterfly. So I literally Googled butterfly in different languages. And what came up was Mariposa and Papillon. So Papillon is in French, and then Mariposa is in Spanish. And I just immediately had an envision of Mariposa with the A, you know, when you
In the
spell
butterfly?
Well, and then the coming off the butterfly floating around. And I just visually saw that versus Papillon, and I'm probably not saying the pronunciation correctly bad. So I thought Mariposa would be easier to say.
Beautiful.
So that
I
is
love
how
it.
that's how it all began.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very creative you are.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say how you are very direct and in your own way, in a good way, that I could see in your own industry how that would really help people transition into new places as well, because everyone needs that sort of help. It's very similar.
Well, I
We
am a New
parallel.
Yorker, but there's also a lot of people that it comes across as offensive. I mean, you know, whatever.
I would never take you that
I like
way.
to be direct. That's the way I like
Yeah.
to, you know, even for you have to go in and analyze somebody's closet. I've got to go in and say, we really need to move that furniture out. We really
Yeah.
need to take all your personal stuff out. I got to do it in that way. So
But you always say, and here's why, though. So it makes them understand.
I do. But I have to think about it. I think I do naturally, but that's good for you to say to me, because sometimes like I said, I can be like, you know, a bowl in a china shop. Move that, get rid of that, do that. And I'm like, why don't they understand me, right? I've had people look at me like, well, you're a little sharp. And I'm like, isn't everybody? No, they're not.
No, they're not. But you know what's funny? I now, especially my guys, because the women sort of know my personality, which is similar to yours. I'm not a New Yorker, but I could totally hang in New York, and I love New York.
Of course.
And I never get offended in New York. I mean,
Right.
I love that. But I always tell my guys, because sometimes, you know, especially if it's a CEO or something, and I preface it with, okay, 2 things. One, I'm going to come across bossy. I'm not bossy. Well, I could be bossy, but it's for your own good. So just know that up front. And 2, if you have to be honest and upfront, I actually tell this to everyone, feel free to tell me my baby's ugly, because I have to be, this is a very intimate process, and you have to be honest, as I'm going to be honest.
Wait, who do you say that to?
I say that to everyone. I just had a 17-year-old son that I was shopping for his 18th birthday. His mom hired me for him, which was so sweet, and we had such a great time.
That is sweet, yeah.
And he, and it's funny, when I Zoomed with both of them first, because I wanted him to see me, especially that age, and a guy, they're probably like, what? Because his mom, funny enough, that story, his mom, her boss was my original, this gentleman was my original client. And then I started working with her, and then she hired me for her son. And so that's what I mean by this whole referral business, but he was probably like, yeah, Mom, like one of your friends shopping with me, no.
Right. And
so,
picking out my clothes,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And so I Zoomed with them, and immediately we had a great rapport. And I think that that's one thing, any sort of industry that you're in, and you're similar, you have to sort of read your person and know when to pull back, when to go forward, when you can use your humor, when you probably shouldn't use your humor, whatever it is.
Right.
And so we kind of tap danced a little bit, and then we had a lot of fun, and I got the hook of him of being a little artistic. So then moving forward, we went shopping and got him some great things. He was going to Los Angeles the next day, and so we wanted to get this really cool outfit.
Had to look cool.
And usually with guys, it's shoes and the fit factor, no matter what age. And so we got him all styled up, and I got the best little response from a text from the mom. She said, Dylan said, I hope I can use names, that he said, that was so much fun. I actually wish we could have hung out with her longer. And I was like, oh my God.
Right?
That's the best thing ever.
Exactly.
A 17-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So he was fun he was one that I could have fun with. Why did I tell you that story?
We were wrapping up, and I wanted to thank you so much for your time, number one, your expertise, your opinion, everything. My experience, my personal experience was so rewarding. I just brag to everybody. It's helped me immensely. I thought, okay, if it helps me so much, it has to help my buyers or my sellers. They at least need to know about you in case they need your service, because it was life-changing for me.
Oh, I can't thank you enough, and I love working with you. You've got great style. You're fun.
Right? We're besties now.
Besties and quick decisions, which I love, and it's really been so much fun. I love it.
Well,
and you have great style to begin with. So.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for participating in today's podcast, Conversations with Kathy, or Candid Conversations. And I look forward to working more with you, and we'll see each other soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you for tuning in to Candid Conversations with Kathy, and I so look forward to speaking to all of you next week. Thanks again. Have a great day.